A big focus today, the grudge series between India and England has been hit by a major controversy. England fast bowler James Anderson has been charged under level 3 of the ICC Code of Conduct for allegedly abusing and pushing Ravindra Jadeja. This incident took place during the first test match at Trent Bridge in the ongoing series. England has reacted with shock over the complaint, questioning the timing of the charge. We have Boria Majumdar joining us live from England for more on this. Our consulting editor Boria Majumdar is with us to put the entire controversy in context for us. Boria, what is your reading of the entire situation? Because the Indian media here, of course, is discussing it threadbare. What really is the British media saying about this incident? What is their take on this alleged sledging?
Aviral, I was speaking to British journalists till very late last night, and if you see the British press this morning, it's 6:30 here local time in England in the morning, you will see that all the papers have reacted with a bit of they are imputing motive. They are saying that this is a sinister attempt, this is a cynical attempt by India to ensure that James Anderson is taken out of the series, at least for a couple of test matches. They are imputing motive in this whole affair. They are not looking at it as a kind of a serious charge pressed by India for all of them. And if you see the newspapers across the board, whether it's, the leading newspapers, all of them, you will see the same thread of patriotic kind of arguments running through, that they feel James Anderson is being unfairly targeted by the Indians. They feel that this is an attempt by Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Duncan Fletcher to ensure that their main adversary, England's #1 bowler, James Anderson, is taken out of the context. So this is a clear case of polarization now between the Indians and the British media. And most importantly, they have identified Mahendra Singh Dhoni as the single most important factor in this whole matter. They are arguing that it is because of Mahendra Singh Dhoni that this matter has escalated and has become what it has. I also had a long conversation with Sunil Dev, and here I want to put this on record. I had a long conversation with Sunil Dev, the Indian manager, and Sunil clearly put it in perspective, saying it was Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Duncan Fletcher, who were very, very concerned about the whole matter, and the entire dressing room was pretty much angered by what had happened in Trent Bridge, and it was at their insistence that he went and complained. And when Duncan Fletcher actually informed the English on Monday, one day after the Trent Bridge test match, about the complaint, the England and Wales Cricket Board reacted with complete shock and bewilderment, because they did not expect this coming. And once it hit them, that is when they sort of tried to do damage control and decided on their own to lodge a formal complaint against Ravindra Jadeja as a retrospective act, saying Jadeja too is guilty of breach of conduct. So all said and done, it's just the start of the day here. As I said, it's 6:30 in the morning, but over the next 12 hours or so, it will be extremely interesting to see what happens, because the teams are practicing around midday, around 1 o'clock, 1:30 India time, which is 6 o'clock is the pre-match press conference of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Right. Watch out for that, because all of the journalists, I'm sure, will ask questions on this.
All right, Boria, stay with us. A very early morning for you and a very long morning for Vikrant, who's been with us since morning.
It was a long night as well.
A long night as well. We've been discussing this issue. A lot of reactions coming in all over the media, all over social media. Vikrant, what really is your take on this, considering how difficult it is going to be to ascertain the facts of the case, since there is no real footage of the incident as it happened?
Well, this can't be cynicism. As Boria just pointed out, I was expecting something better from the British press, because there are a few cricketers who write columns, and international cricketers normally don't take stands. This can't be cynicism simply because there is a Mahendra Singh Dhoni involved in this. He is not somebody who's going to put at stake all his reputation over one false incident. This is not a case which will be decided in the court of law, Aviral, which means that evidence is one man's word against the other. We've seen earlier instances where one man would say something against the other and the match referee would decide. I'm not very sure if the match referee has been taken to the loop. I'm also not very sure if there are CCTV cameras in that old pavilion at Trent Bridge. But if there was a Mahendra Singh Dhoni, there was a Gautam Gambhir and Ashwin who could testify and say, yes, Anderson pushed Ravindra Jadeja. And there must have been not just the English cricketers, but also the ground staff. So I'm sure the Judicial Commissioner, if he's appointed today or tomorrow, will take into account everything.
Now, Boria, we understand that one game is still to be played before really a decision is taken. What do you make of the kind of atmosphere that will exist between the two teams?
Oh, it will be one of tremendous animosity, make no mistake. But before that, I want to endorse what Vikrant was saying. 3 points, very significant. He made one. MS Dhoni would not go ahead and press charges unless he was 100% sure. And MS Dhoni was at the crease with Ravindra Jadeja at that point in time when, this whole altercation happened on day 2. So MS Dhoni knows what he's talking about, because when they were walking back to the pavilion, inside the pavilion, there are no CCTVs as far as I'm aware in that old pavilion in Trent Bridge, which is opposite the press box. But India does have eyewitnesses. I mean, Gautam Gambhir and Ravichandran Ashwin, by their own standing, are very credible international cricketers. I mean, Gautam Gambhir is a World Cup champion. Ravichandran Ashwin too. So you cannot just ignore players of their stature who are actually going and testifying. They've already done that. That is how this evidence, this case came to light, when these two players went and testified. And this was confirmed to me by Sunil Dev. I want to put that on record, that the Indian manager confirmed that they have eyewitnesses who have gone and testified. That is when this whole case sort of, actually became what it is. So Vikrant is spot on that point about Dhoni and the fact that India has eyewitnesses. If you go back to the 2008 incident, the Monkey Gate incident of Harbhajan Singh, the stump cameras are inconclusive. The match referee Mike Proctor went by evidence. Australia, Matthew Hayden, Adam Gilchrist and others, and on the Indians counterpart Harbhajan Singh and Sachin Tendulkar. Ultimately, it was decided because of evidence given by Sachin Tendulkar. So you've got to go with evidence given by players, because it's a gentleman's game. So this is a real serious issue. And to answer your final point, I think the atmosphere will be one of tremendous animosity. I mean, this whole sense of camaraderie, we are calling it the grudge series. It is actually the grudge series, because entire British media has pointed fingers at Mahendra Singh Dhoni, saying this is an attempt by Mahendra Singh Dhoni to take James Anderson out of the equation. Finally, Aviral, I don't think it's the Lord's test that's going to be affected, because in 24 hours, nothing can happen. People are saying that it's the 4th test in Old Trafford, and which is all the more significant because Old Trafford is James Anderson's home test. So after Southampton, so over the next couple of weeks, this whole saga will unfold, and the James Anderson story, if he's taken out of the equation for the 4th test, which is his home ground in Old Trafford, this will become all the more ugly.
Absolutely. It's getting personal by the minute, Boria, if I can say that. But Vikrant, help us understand really what the code of conduct is and what is the worst that can happen to James Anderson.
It's a gentleman's game. It still is called a gentleman's game. Test cricket is played in whites. Anything that goes wrong in our life, we say this is not quite cricket. So you can understand, relate. Okay. He can sledge, the players can sledge. It's international cricket, times have changed. I think Jimmy Anderson was smart enough. He, while they were coming off the field, he must have abused or sledged or did whatever. You can't catch it on the camera.
Right.
But if he pushed Jadeja, he did that once he crossed the ground while they were walking inside that dressing room area, which means that he knew that the camera was not there.
Right.
As Boria said, and I'm sure he would endorse, this is slightly different from Monkey Gate. There was racism involved. But you're physically pushing or assaulting a fellow player, an international player, which is, I think, even worse. I think there's also some kind of frustration in the way Anderson has reacted. I think they expected that this time as well, the Indians would get rolled over, they would win the series 5-0. The first day and a half, the Indians had resisted. Maybe that was the frustration. Boria, if you recall, even 2011, the Indians were facing racism, so as to say. There was a British paper which put out a headline saying, dogs and the Indians go to sleep. Michael Vaughan had said something. Nasir Hussain compared the Indians to the, saying that they were like donkeys on the field.